What's up, guys? Today I want to talk a little bit about something that has been eating away at me recently. Well, actually, for quite some time. And especially in the past 2 weeks, I've really noticed something. And I just want to put this out there as food for thought, right? I'm not trying to twist people's arms into thinking a certain way, but this is regarding how we view NASCAR, right? I'm sure all of you have at some point or another seen or heard people talk about this or have had these thoughts yourself. And that is the question of what is NASCAR, right? Is it sport or is it entertainment? Some people are already have accepted or view NASCAR as pure entertainment. Some people, like myself, are still kind of dragging their feet and still view NASCAR as a sport. Now, sports in general, in and of itself, are entertaining. But the question here is what makes a sport entertaining? Any sport, sports in general. And the only way I can describe it is just competition. When you see competition of almost any kind, right? That is something that is generally entertaining. And what we've seen, and this is not new, it's been going on for some time now, is that NASCAR is more and more leaning towards not so much competition, but entertainment. And I'm going to get into some of the things that I believe are the reason why, right? But again, this is just my opinions, right? And just something for you to think about, right? Whether you agree with me or not, take the time to really think about what I'm going to be talking about. Because it may help explain why NASCAR has changed so much in the past 10, 15 years, right? And my main thing is this. Let me change this so you guys could see, right? So as you guys know, 2 weeks ago we saw what is generally considered by many people, most people I would think, is one of the greatest finishes in NASCAR history, right? And I agree. It is one of the greatest finishes. It's not really important where you put it. But we like to do things like this. We love to rate everything and give an official stamp on what we thought of a particular race or a moment. And, I'm starting to wonder why we do that. And it ties into the changes we've seen in NASCAR. So, think about this. I'm going to put this question out here, let it marinate for a second, and then I'll continue. I'm not saying this has never happened. But seriously, you tell me any other sport where fans of that sport debate and rate the individual games. I've never seen it, except for maybe the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl, they don't really do that anymore. But if you go back maybe 15 years ago or so, or 20, even 20, there used to be a time when every Super Bowl was a blowout. And the games were over by halftime. A lot of you remember that, right? Some of you may not. The games are a lot better now. They're a lot more competitive. But there used to be a time when the NFC would just mop the floor with the AFC champion, and it was very rare you got a good Super Bowl. That went on for a long time, right? I remember growing up, and it was like, oh, these guys are going to get blown out again this year. Or, every year it's a blowout. But removing that, that's the only time I can remember where fans consistently discussed, was the game a good game, right? And that was the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the biggest game or event in sports, right? So, pushing that aside, we don't really see that anymore. But outside of that, I don't remember really any consistent time where fans are just debating. Like baseball, football, basketball, hockey, no matter what, you don't hear them rating the games. What fans really care about when they watch other sports is, one, who won the game, and two, they care about how the individual athletes did in that game. And that is where statistics come into play. So let's just say football. You want to know how many yards a quarterback threw for, how many touchdowns, how many yards a running back got, how many sacks did a linebacker get, so on and so forth. So these are the two main things that sports fans of other sports care about. Who won the game, and how did the individual players do, right? Your favorite player, what were their stats? Stats have always been something that I've told people are extremely important in sports. They go hand in hand, which is why you've heard me complain so vigorously, right? When we went so many years of NASCAR video games with basically no stats or very, very little attention and detail into the statistics department, right? Because stats are very important in sports. That's what we use to measure the accomplishments and abilities of athletes. So, not going to keep going deeper into it, but just giving you some of the things that fans care about, right? But for some strange reason, when it comes to NASCAR, we have turned into a bunch of analysts who have to give a rating after every race. You got to tell people, let me show you real quick. Hold on. Let me change this. So, as you see here, right? This is just the first thing that I saw pop up. But here goes, how was the Xfinity race at Daytona Road Course a good race? This is from 2021. And you see these polls all the time. I've even put up polls in the past myself. Was Daytona a good race? This is from 2022, from Jeff Gluck. So you see these polls every week after every race, and this is what I want people to think about. It's like, why are we doing this? If NASCAR really is a sport, and I remember going back years ago, growing up, we've all had someone who knows nothing about NASCAR ask us, or even tell us, like, NASCAR is not a real sport. It's just a bunch of guys turning left. Like, driving isn't a sport. Like, you have to explain to them all the nuances of why NASCAR is really a sport. So, you know what it's like, right? So now we're in a place where even the fan base, all right, is not even really considering NASCAR a sport. They're constantly doing this. They're having these ratings and polls, and like I said, I've done it. So I don't want to do that anymore. I do have a lot of people hit me up, sending me DMs, all kinds of stuff. What'd you think of the race? What do you rate it? And I appreciate that people want to know what I think. And I'm not telling you, I'm never going to tell you if I thought it was a good or bad race. But I think that the focus, the sheer focus on, was this a good race? To me, it's like, what the fuck is going on? You look at football, baseball, basketball, hockey, any other sport, all the fans care about is who won and the statistical achievements of individual players. Outside of that, it's like, okay, when's the next game? And where, you know, what's the record of the team? Or, what's the playoff outlook? Do they look like contenders or not? These are the things that sports fans of other sports care about. Why is it that we've become so obsessed with, really, the first thing is, was it a good race? And was it entertaining? And that's all people talk about. You don't see that like in other sports. Nobody like, is every football, baseball, or basketball game you've ever seen the most entertaining thing? Of course not. Sports are not supposed to be something that you can predict. That's what makes sports what it is. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get a very entertaining game. You may not. But even the games that are not quote unquote entertaining, that's not what those fans care about. They just, did my team win? Did my favorite player, hit 3 home runs? Oh my God, he hit for the cycle. He's leading in batting average. My favorite pitchers, leading in strikeouts. Like, that's what people care about. They don't discuss whether or not these games are entertaining. So, getting back to NASCAR, right? And this happens every week, right? Let me switch this up. Okay? Oh, what's going on here? Can you guys see that? Oh, okay, I hit the wrong one. Okay, here we go. So, like I said, this was an amazing finish. People are going to talk about this forever. It's like the wall ride at Martinsville. Like, these things happen. What is it that makes this great? One, this does not happen all the time. If this happened all the time, this would cease to be amazing. So when fans want to see this Game 7 moment or amazing, unforgettable, exciting finish every race, then what you're doing is, one, you're making it predictable. And the only way to make this happen is by manipulating the races. And there's a lot of ways NASCAR has been doing it, right? But be careful what you wish for. And this is what I believe has pushed NASCAR in the past 15 or so years to go more and more towards entertainment. NASCAR's only job, if you really care about NASCAR as a sport first, like I do, all I want NASCAR to do is to make sure that, one, these guys aren't cheating. Two, the cars are as evenly matched as possible. I know there's some people out there that don't want to hear that. But it's hard to argue that on a positive note, right? Everything hasn't been negative. But on a positive note, we have seen some of the tightest and most competitive racing amongst all 40 drivers as we've ever seen, right? There used to be a time when it was just between 2-3 guys winning all the time, dominating. You still have guys who dominate, all right? I'm not saying you don't, but there's more even competition across the board. So on a positive note, that's good, right? But that is NASCAR's job, to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that these cars are as evenly matched as possible. And I don't mind that they want to promote more entertaining racing, but there's a thin line between more competitive and good racing and just manipulating things where you're forcing these moments. So, for instance, NASCAR instituted the stage caution thing. it now that I've gotten now that we've lived with it for a few years, it's not good. I think most fans want it to go away. Um, I can't speak for everyone. There are some people that want to see these constant restarts because they want to see 3, 4 wide in the first turn. But that is a way to manipulate the racing. So when fans finally see a race that has more of a natural flow to it, you hear people say, "I'm bored. These cars are spread apart." Um, there hasn't, you get green flag pit stops, and they don't appreciate that. They don't appreciate the attrition that comes with a long green flag run. That's all part of old school racing. But NASCAR has helped condition fans, and like one of my points here is for people to really think about their role in all this. Like as a fan base, the NASCAR fan base has pretty much sent the message to NASCAR that this is what they want. So this is a great finish. I actually did enjoy a lot of things about that Atlanta race. I don't want people to think that I shit all over it. I don't think that it turned out to be like Daytona and Talladega. The intention was for it to be a baby Daytona and Talladega, but it's not turning out that way. And that's a good thing, and I'm happy to see that, and I hope the track continues to change and handling continues to get worse. This, I think, provided a much better race, right? That being said, I'm not a fan of converting mile and a halves or any of that. I don't want to see more of that. But you do see fans calling for that now, right? So this is why I always tell people, be careful what you wish for. So this is why Atlanta is going to be remembered, because this does not happen all the time. And as a sports fan, I appreciate that, because you're not supposed to know what you're going to get. This is why I tell people, if a race isn't the most entertaining, so what? It's part of the schedule. I focus more on where everyone finished. Where are they in the point standings? And I am entertained by real racing. I don't like the manipulated entertainment. But that's really my main point here. And everyone does it. Everyone that talks about NASCAR, whether they have a platform on Twitter or YouTube or Twitch, wherever the fuck, everyone does it. They all talk about the entertainment value and they rate these races. And that's why I don't want to rate these races, because I still view it as a sport. And just like any other sport, a game is a game. And I'm more focused on who won and how did the individual players do in those games. And then I'm off to the next game. I don't spend, the next couple days debating on whether that baseball game was, a 7 out of 10 on the entertainment scale. Nobody does that. But we do this with NASCAR. So we are partly to blame for the reason why, one, NASCAR keeps pushing these gimmicks and manipulating these races. Okay, so we are partly to blame for that. There's plenty of blame to go around, but this is just food for thought. And I am curious to know what you guys think, because I really think that the changes I've seen are all connected. And the fact that everyone starts immediately talking about, the rating, what do you rate this race? You got a groovy gauge and this and that. And it's like, that's something you do for movies or TV shows. That is something, I go to see a movie and then I can tell you it's a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, because it is something that is created for entertainment purposes. So when I pay my money to go see a movie, I'm expecting a certain amount of entertainment value. When I pay money or I watch a sporting event, I go in as a fan cheering and rooting for people, cheering and rooting against people, and then I sit back and say, what's going to happen? And that's what makes sports special. That you don't know what's going to happen. Every game can't be a fucking 8, 9 out of 10 on the entertainment scale. That's impossible. You don't do that for football. Football you get once a week, and you don't do that for football. Why are we doing this for NASCAR races? We need to stop. I mean, that's just my opinion. But stop judging it based on entertainment and just take it for what it is. It's a competition. It's a sporting event meant to display competition. And the fact that we don't know what's going to happen, that's what makes sports sports. It's not like watching a movie or a show or anything else. So this is why I think this has gotten way out of control. And I think it sends a message to NASCAR that this is what we want. All these fans are looking at is entertainment value. And they don't care how they get it. So NASCAR says, how do we do that? Well, we start implementing gimmicks to manipulate these races. The stage cautions is probably the biggest example I can think of. And the video game industry has really also added to a lot of it because, again, if you look at how NASCAR has changed in the past 15, 20 years, another big change was the video games, right? So we went from the highlights of the NASCAR Thunder Series, and then the games kept getting worse. But something else about the games, besides the quality, changed. And that is the advent of online multiplayer. So now you get a lot of that. So now the fans, what they used to get was the offline, the career. It was a much more detailed and deeper experience of NASCAR that felt like a sport. And now it's all online racing and a bunch of guys doing 5-lap sprints at Daytona and Talladega and crashing, and it's a spectacle. So now you're cultivating a fan base that is growing up on sim racing and video game online racing, instead of getting a genuine deep career mode with detail about what is this like to be a real driver in a team and an organization and building that and the business side of of NASCAR, the type of things you see in other games, other sports games. But I'm not blaming it all on that. I'm just telling you it's all connected. It's more than just one thing. So I think you get these people and they're cultivated on this, and now they watch the races and they're like, I'm used to just running a bunch of sprint laps online against a bunch of morons, crashing into each other, going 3-4 wide in the corner, no respect, no racing etiquette. And I expect to see the same thing in a NASCAR race. I expect to see more restarts where these guys are bunched up just like in the video games. I want to see chaos and entertainment. Otherwise, I'm bored. These things are connected. Just my opinion. But basically, that's what I wanted. I just wanted to do this video to get people to think. And even if you disagree with me, let me know why. But I really think it's connected. There's no coincidences in life. There's a ripple effect to everything. Everything's connected. And I really think that, this world we live in today where we live, each moment, and then we have to put a stamp on it. We have to rate it. And I really think it sends the wrong message. And you don't see this in other sports. Other sports just let everything happen naturally. NASCAR is so manipulated by NASCAR, and everything is geared towards entertainment. And NASCAR's only responsibility should be making sure that the competition is even as possible, that there's no cheating going on, and let them go. But they got their hands on everything, on all the controls. Oh, let's add stage cautions. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that's why the product feels so manipulated. And the race package, let's tinker with that so that we force these cars to be clumped together all the time. And I think we can all agree the racing got much worse, right, in the last generation. And that's what it leads to. And I'm just saying, as fans of NASCAR, I think we should focus more on the competition of it and stop complaining if the race doesn't end like this.
Help with Kyle Busch.
Oh, Suarez right alongside him. 3 wide. Off turn 4. Here they come to the flag. 3 abreast. Photo finish.
I think it's Blaney. Unbelievable. 3 wide finish. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Scoring.
Finish is under review.
Great moment. And the reason it's such a great moment is that does not happen every week. And then we go to Vegas, and the first thing I've seen a lot of people complain because they want to see this every week. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is sports. This is not a movie. So those are my thoughts. I really look forward to your comments. I think that if you are somebody with a platform, just think about what I'm saying. Is this really good to constantly focus on the entertainment value of a race and giving it a rating instead of just focusing on what happened and, like other sports, focus on the wins, the record, who finished where, what's happening on the point standings, the normal sports stuff that you see in every other sport. This is the only sport where the fans are so blindly focused on how entertaining was this to me. I think that's a problem. I think that's what makes sports. You don't know what's going to happen. You're not supposed to know. And manipulating these races, whether it's a race package that forces pack racing or stage cautions which guarantees clumping these cars together, and that kills the natural flow of a race where you get to see green flag pit stops, you get to see these teams make mistakes, you get to see attrition, tire wear, all of these wonderful things about racing that is now it's a lost part of racing. And it doesn't help that, I think that online racing, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm shitting all over online racing. I'm just telling you it's food for thought. Think about it. It has cultivated this, and how many people actually run full 100% races online against a large group of people? That only happens on iRacing. And even there, the races are condensed. So that isn't really what NASCAR is. Most of these races are like 400 miles, and there's supposed to be attrition. That has been taken away with stage cautions and all this other shit. And then there's always this late green-white checkered thing. So I even saw some people complain that we didn't get a green-white checkered. We did get kind of a late caution, but you got to see these guys battle it out in Vegas last week. And there's always something to complain about. And there's a lot of good things about NASCAR to focus on. And I really think we need to take a step back from all of this what do I rate this race on the entertainment scale? That really should not be a part of any sport. You don't see that. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, anything. People enjoy it for what it is. And if it turns out to be a 1-0 like shutout, at Yankee Stadium, that people walk out of there and they still enjoyed the competitiveness of it. They're not like, oh, that was boring. I wanted to see 50 home runs. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments. Later.